Don't understand why you're 40 years old and playing the game still. So.
Well, I mean, what game do you think you're going to be playing when you're 40? When do you think you're going to stop playing games? What's the age? What's the cutoff age?
When you're out of high school and college.
You're a high school kid?
Yeah, I'm in high school. Yeah.
How old are you?
Why does it matter?
Well, I mean, you foresee yourself in the future quitting something you love, like video games? Do you not love video games? You just cruise through it.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a waste of time when you're that old. But.
Well, how do you know? You're not old yet. I mean, I can think of probably reasons that video games would be a waste of time for a high school kid, too. Do you have a 4.0? Are you in honor classes to get more than a 4.0?
No, but...
You know what I'm saying? There's more things you could be doing to improve your life than playing video games, too, right?
Yeah, you're studying, not playing games.
Hey, just recreation, man. Having fun. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, then.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Arcade. My name is Brian. I'm here with John, the problematic white guy, and this is the Week in Culture. I always feel like I'm late for everything because when these things happen, everybody else is making videos about it, and I have to wait until Saturday because I just don't have the time with everything else that I have to do. But I'm okay with chiming in whenever I'm ready because I might be able to bring a unique perspective. And not just calling people names or calling them stupid, but trying to get to the base line of what is going on here, how deep the rabbit hole goes, So usually that's worth waiting for. Yeah. Hi, John. How you doing?
Oh, I'm awesome as always. And to your point, I mean, I do talk about this stuff throughout the week on various channels, and it takes a lot of shapes and forms. But I tend to like the conversations we have over here on the weekends because there is more time for things to kind of air out. You kind of get a little bit more perspective because a lot of these things kind of build over a course of days. And, if I am going to say anything kind of snide and kind of being like a complete, jackass.
I mean, it's fine.
That's fine. And I still bring a little bit of that to Saturdays, but generally speaking, by the time we get to this point, I tend to, have a little bit more to actually say about the actual substance of the thing. So
yeah, and I appreciate your input a lot because I know that you have your own way of looking at things and analyzing things, and that's good because it is adding to the conversation and overall, and that's what I want. Right. From the moment I got involved in making content, all I wanted to do was try to encourage and foster real conversations. And shortly after I started doing that, I realized how few people want that too. So
right.
But it's okay because I think it's happening whether you like it or not. Anyway, so before we get started, I'm going to ask you guys, because I don't do this and I should do this, I'm going to ask you guys right up front, please hit like and share the stream. It's really the only way I can reach more people. And I'm going to tell you a little story. On my main job, I work over at Honey Badger Radio. This is why this channel is called Honey Badger Arcade. And over there, we talk about the issues facing men and boys, primarily things like false allegations and divorce courts and circumcision and so many other really important issues that don't get addressed. And yesterday, I had the pleasure of meeting with a former military veteran who basically has a whole network of other men in the military, even some women, and the mothers of those men in the military. And they're all trying to change the kangaroo courts within that system. And when I met up with him and spoke to him yesterday, we had lunch. He drove 5 hours from DC to meet with me here in Roanoke, Virginia, and another gentleman that I work with as well. And we sat down for lunch and talked about everything that he's doing and all that. And he has connections, he knows people in the Pentagon. Okay. And he told me that we are my content on YouTube when I work with Honey Badger Brigade, as well as some of the people I associate with that also make content online, are for sure being suppressed by algorithms and by NGOs and USAID stuff. All of that is the Department of Homeland Security. It's all real. So the only way that I can grow this channel, I can't rely on the system to do it on its own. The only way I can reach more people is if you guys share my video. So I'm begging you guys, please consider post it on your social media. I know this isn't extremely, critical stuff that we're talking about on this show, But I do think the culture is important. And
Most
the
definitely.
more people I can reach, the more I can grow and I can make better content. Like ultimately, I'd like to have something akin to a studio space where people can come in, just like, you know, I don't want to say Joe Rogan because that sounds extremely what do you call it? Ambitious, but ultimately something along those lines. Tim Cast, you know, Steven Crowder, like there's plenty of people who do good stuff. So anyway, but it starts small and I'm tiny. I'm literally in like a second bedroom in my little apartment and I work every day. So I just want to like, you know, have the ability to do this and not worry about like where my next meal's coming from and stuff like that. Because right now it's a struggle, right? But things are changing. Things are changing. Like I said, he told me that there are people in the military, in the Pentagon, that watch our videos, people in Congress that watch our videos and they're like, we see what you're saying and we like it, but we are scared. Like they're scared and I'm doing this. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to pump myself up, but I'm just telling you any help that you guys can provide in terms of sharing and liking the stream is welcome. I think that we're on the verge of a vibe shift and I want to be, you know, involved in that. So anyway,
Indeed, and honestly, you know, I say the same thing pretty much on every stream I go on nowadays. That we do always appreciate likes. It helps with the CensorTube algorithm specifically, but sharing is quite honestly the most effective way. It's word of mouth advertising. It shows that, you know, people that you actually know and care about, and that kind of reciprocate those feelings when they see the stuff that you're interested in. They are more likely to actually, you know, take a look and maybe, you know, get involved with this themselves. So I always advocate for the sharing even more so than the likes. So
yeah. So thank you, John. Thank you guys for watching, and anybody who's here, I really appreciate it more than you know. Even though there's only a few people, but that could change. So let us though first, we got to have some fun because this is the week in culture. Let's start by talking about Greg Miller. So okay, so Greg Miller was a guy. Let me actually, I got a summary. I should read my summary so I don't get like pulled into a rabbit hole here. So there were the DICE Awards on February 13th, and the host, Greg Miller, who left IGN, so supposedly to go independent, has made several notable comments during the ceremony. So let's play this clip and take a look at what those comments might have been. Oh, and by the way, there's a theme here too, by the way. I noticed with today's stories, there's an overarching theme. Let's see if you guys can figure out what the theme is. And hello, John Ford. Hello, Norwegian. Hello, Gabriel. And hello, Robert Johnson. All right, let's play the clip.
Indeed.
Here we go. 50 seconds.
My favorite games, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, is nominated for Online Game of the Year. Get your hands together. Thank you, Rod. Of course, that is a game that takes real skill.
It does. Yeah, and I'm not trying to flatter everyone here, but if I know one thing about this audience, is that none of you had to pay someone to play Diablo for you.
Elon Musk admits to cheating in Path of Exile 2 and Diablo 4 amid fake gamer controversy. Okay, well, I mean, it's fine. Like, I agree that that's kind of fucked up, and I don't like it, but seems like a petty thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, is he doing anything like? Is this a competition? Because I, you know, like as I recall growing up, like a lot of kids, they generally like, you know, they pass off their controller. There have been many times that I've cleared a level or two or done something for, you know, someone who just can't get past a thing and whatever. I am not a big Elon Musk fan, you know, myself. I mean, I appreciate that X is a much better platform than it used to be. Doesn't mean that I necessarily trust Elon Musk, you know, for the long term. And when we get into, you know, one of the bigger stories later on, I will probably have an interesting controversial take on it to some degree. But this is a non-issue entirely. This is just somebody like, you know, that.
These people,
they account, big deal.
Well, the thing is, these people, okay, their criticisms of Elon Musk are not the same as your criticisms or my
Right.
criticisms. Like I have
Okay.
criticisms, but they're like based in like sanity. They don't like him because of the things we do like that he's doing. Okay.
Right.
Like, and I'll say Elon Musk is a person. He's got flaws. I have pointed them out. When I say I'm not a big fan, it doesn't mean I dislike. And usually people, when they say I'm not a big fan of X, it means that they dislike that person.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm sort of ambivalent because, like some people are saying he's the Antichrist. Some people are saying that he's a con man. Some people are saying that he's the second coming. And I'm none of those people.
None of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm none of those things. My thing is, he is a person, and he's got some, like anybody, he's complex. He's got things about him that I like, and some things I dislike. I think that he may, and I brought this up on the news show, and I don't want to make this all about Elon Musk now, but I'm making the case that Greg Miller's reasons for not liking him are not the same as mine.
Right.
What I do think is that I think he is going through a character arc, and where that lands is going to be completely up to him. But it could be really good or it could be bad. It could be, okay? Right. But it's sort of like, Javier Milei, you know Javier Milei, guys, the president of Argentina, Mr. Afuera, right? Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Afuera! He recently got caught up in a crypto scam, and like 2 of them. And so like people are mad about it, and these things happen, but I don't think it changes like what he wants to do. So Elon Musk, with like everything he's done with Doge, I think it's fantastic. And obviously it's upsetting the right people. Working with Trump, I think that's fantastic. That doesn't make him perfect. That means that he's just like doing some things right. When he told Bob Iger to go fuck yourself and all these like people in the woke media, I thought that was good. Like I will look at behavior and I will point that out.
Did I send you the article about how I don't think I did. I wish I would have. But Doge is actually based off of a program that was started by Obama, and that's
I think so. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember that. Well, I don't think you sent it to me, but I know of that.
Right. But the funny thing about it is, because of the way that it was implemented, they can't really undo it, because it's a department that already exists. It's just having its focus changed, but it's basically quite literally like the IT directory for the whole back end of bureaucracy, and it was put into place by the Obama administration. So they've just taken something that was, in many ways insidious and turned it on itself, which is beautiful. So that's one of those things that makes people cope and seethe, is they can't even undermine the thing that was actually undermining all of us.
Yeah. Ultimately, here's what's going on right now, okay? The left is freaking out, and they're taking it out on Elon Musk because, and here's the reason, they can't do it to Trump anymore with any sort of, like, it's not valid to criticize Trump. You know why? Because Trump was elected, duly elected. He got the popular vote. He got the electoral vote. He got the mandate of the people. Okay. So they literally can't even say he's not supposed to be there. So instead, they point their ire towards Musk, who supported Trump. Okay. And so because he's not elected, appointed, not really even appointed, I think he was basically like in charge of creating the team to make up Doge. I don't really think Elon Musk is himself involved in that. I think he's like the liaison between the Doge team and Trump's administration. But so the Elon derangement syndrome is the new syndrome, because that's somebody they can actually target, because that's why they're claiming he's president now and all this other shit. They hate him, even though, and this is the funny thing about this too, is that everybody that they're mad at right now used to be a Democrat.
Right. Well, that's the funny thing too, is they do that in a way to try to delegitimize, the presidency, because it's like, well, he's not even from here, and yet, he's got Trump's ear and all this kind of stuff. It's more rhetoric, and so like, but you're right, like they can't go after Trump directly, so this is kind of like their workaround to
well, he's their new target. Yeah,
right.
They never learn, they just double down. And so, and all they do is they further alienate people. And Greg Miller is doing that. He just doesn't like Trump or Musk. But let's listen to the rest of the clip. Okay.
It's hard to level up your own characters when you're dismantling democracy.
I feel like we're in good company here, but just in case for the people online, if you get mad at that joke, it's Greg Miller. G-R-E-G.
M-I-L-L-E-R. Fuck Elon Musk and fuck Donald Trump.
Remember when the left was hated the deep state? I mean, the military-industrial complex, and they wanted to dismantle it. Oh, the deep state and the military-industrial complex are the same thing. Now they are the establishment. Okay, so let's look at some funny comments right at the top. Flash, this is Yellow Flash. He says, "You left IGN to become IGN." The quartering. What inspired you to do something both so stunning and so brave?
Right.
Ministry of Sneed, so edgy. This is why gamers hate video game journalists. Keep virtue signaling. It's the only thing they know how to do. It's so sad. I'll never understand why people in the entertainment industry continue to want to alienate half their fan base. I think more than half, if you look at the numbers. Why do celebrities need to talk about politics so much? Is it really that boring in your mansions? Yes. One thing gamers hate is a sore loser. Map of the US. Yeah. So Greg Miller got roasted for this. And there were some okay, wait. There was one place where he was praised. Can you guess where it was?
I'm gonna have to go with Cucktaku.
No, I mean, obviously, I don't know that there were any like articles written on game journals websites, but I'm sure that's true.
Right. I mean, just knowing the way that the weather flow.
What's the darkest, most like woke part of the internet that generally like has the most brain rotted, terminally on? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And are kind of funny. There were people who praised his boldness, and they were like, "Thank you, Greg. Fuck Trump and fuck Elon." And they are openly lolling in Reddit land. So maybe Blue Sky, but nobody's there. Who knows? So anyway, I guess I just I wanted to start with this. It's a little one, but I thought it was pretty funny that he's getting roasted for this. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's this is kind of one of those things where it's like, what they're trying to go after. There's so many other things that that someone could legitimately go into, and it just kind of shows these people for what they truly are. Like, they really don't give a shit about anything. They just give, like, it's like Elon was talking about, like, you'd rather mask the appearance of doing evil rather than just not doing evil, to paraphrase basically what he had said. And that's what this whole thing is like, it's all virtue signaling. It's all just whitewashing situations and trying to, just make light of things that, don't need to, be brought out into the forefront, because then, like, you actually have to like consider situations and actually have to think, and none of these people actually have discernment, clearly. And so it's all just a bunch of mean girl gossipy kind of bullshit that kind of like goes after like the most innocuous parts of anything. It's like I've been saying for weeks now, if the things that you've got to complain about are the name of a body of water, and like the way that the government is being audited, which last I checked, people have been talking about for 30 fucking years. Then you really don't have a bad situation, and so like this just kind of like exemplifies that entirely. Like, they can't actually even talk about anything that's substantial or of merit that you could actually go, oh well, I guess you do have me on a sticking point. I'm gonna have to think that through, because they don't even know about any of these things. They just know their NPC download bullshit, and most of that is just childish rhetoric.
Yeah, and what else is really funny about this is that they think that Elon Musk cheating on Diablo 4 is a bigger own than Elon Musk essentially reducing billions and billions of dollars in government spending.
Yeah.
Like, well, where are your priorities, Greg Miller? What are you, a child? okay, like I know, like I know grown adults that I remember. There was this guy I know. I don't want to name any names, but
Right.
there was a guy I know who claimed to be like big into gaming, and it was years ago. And I said, dude, you have to play Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls. And he bought it for PC. And then I followed up with him later, and I was like, so what do you think, right? Because I was like, we could play together sometime if you want or whatever. And he said, oh, well, you know, I just use a code to make he modded it so that he's can't be killed, so he can just walk around the world. And I was like, well, that you just
undid the game.
You just defeats the purpose of playing the game. I was a little annoyed with that, but I don't think he's a terrible person. You know, well, that's shitty. And then I moved on. I mean, it's your money. Like, if that's how you wanted to spend it. But yeah, like Elon Musk cheating at Diablo 4, Doge. Elon Musk cheating at Diablo 4, Doge. I don't know what the comparison is. So
yeah, like I say, it shows their level of concern for things that actually have, like, you know, substance, and they would rather just you know, do the appearance of things rather than actually get involved with anything in any legitimate way. That's all these people, you know, that's why they're full of hot air. And you can pretty much, once you've had one conversation with them, you pretty much consider yourself good for, like, you know, the next 3 years, because it's not like they're gonna have a new thought at any point in time, you know. So I mean, they're boring. They're beyond boring.
Well, they're unserious people. This is basically what I'm saying. Like, when there was somebody who posted and said, why do you guys feel the need to chime in on politics? Because they're convinced that they're smarter than you because they're famous. And that is sad, but it's true. And so what we have to recognize is that they're not serious people. They're basically like grown ass children, and that they should be ignored or roasted, and then we just move on. And because while you guys are whining about Elon Musk like cheating at Diablo 4 or whatever, Pillars of Eternity, we're going to be looking at what's happening to our country and all of the ways that USAID has been funding like feminism in foreign countries. That seems to me to be a higher priority, because I'm a grown ass man. I like games, but I'm not like fixated on it like that. I'm not a child. So, you know, but anyway, that was all I wanted to say about that. Let me know what you guys think about the Greg Miller thing. Also, how sad is it to be like a middle-aged man, you know, and you're still like up there talking about video games, like I don't know, like in this child, like you're not the same guy you were when you joined IGN. You know, you're like, you should be, I don't know, thinking about, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a whole thing is just childish to me. And I say this as a gamer myself, but I recognize that there's a time and a place for that. So, and also, who the hell watches the DICE Awards? Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. Just a little short. This is the appetizer. Well, now we're going to get into the main story. So first up, Marvel Rivals in the news again. And why is that? So apparently, I remember when this happened, the news story broke. NetEase, the Chinese developing company that created Marvel Rivals, has laid off the entire Seattle-based team. Now, when this news broke initially, everybody was saying, oh my God, they fired the whole team. And I was like, why would they do that? The game is like massively, it's probably the most successful game, or one of the most successful games out right now. Why would they do that? And a lot of people were saying, oh, it's a betrayal and all of this other stuff. Turns out they just laid out the team in Seattle. Okay? And this team consisted of 6 developers. So it was like a 6-man team. Included notable figures like game director Thaddeus Sasser and level designer Jack Burrows. The layoffs occurred despite the game's strong performance, reportedly earning $136 million in its first month since launching in December of 2024. This is a free-to-play game that made this much money because people were buying the passes and stuff, and the skins and that kind of thing. So anyway, NetEase confirmed the cuts, stating that they were made, quote, to optimize development efficiency, end quote, and that the core development team is still in Guangzhou, China. They remain intact and committed to the game's ongoing growth. The Seattle team was described as a small support unit, not the primary developers, with all major development now centralized in China. The firings were part of a broader pattern of NetEase scaling back the US operations. In recent months, the company has reduced investments in American studios, including halting funding for Worlds Untold in November 2024, closing Jar of Sparks in January 2025, and laying off most of the staff at Oka Studios in August 2024 before Visions of Mana launched. Speculation from industry observers and posts on X suggests the move reflects NetEase's strategic shift to focus resources domestically, possibly driven by geopolitical tensions, cost considerations, or confidence in its China-based teams following successes like Marvel Rivals and Black Myth Wukong. While the layoffs have sparked surprise and criticism given the game's early success, NetEase has emphasized continued investment in Marvel Rivals' future content, such as new characters and maps under its Chinese team's leadership. So if they did not do it simply to shit on them, okay, we don't know for sure what the reasoning is. I can see how you can look at it like from the whole like nationalist China perspective. But at the end of the day, NetEase wants to make money, and Marvel Rivals is a massive success for them. So why would they do this to the Seattle-based team? Is there anything about Seattle in particular that maybe they want to avoid?
Well, I mean, seeing as I lived there for a decade, it kind of smells like patchouli most places, and you know, there's probably some people there that want to claim that their menstrual cycles are temporary disabilities and things like that, and just, you know, it's not really a place that you can actually, if you're focused on getting business done, that you really can these days, because, you know, like, and that's,
you know what I remember one thing they did say, that one of the reasons, because he said that Seattle office wasn't they were lazy there. Now this could be because China's work ethic is a bit extreme, but it could be because they're lazy.
I mean, I did again live in Seattle, and I know that the way these things go, like, you know, those TikTok girls that show off what they did for their day,
like a day working at Google, and
Google,
they're like,
right. Yeah, I literally used to live 5 minutes away from the Google campus, right? And so, like, I would see those girls about, you know, I lived in Kirkland, which is like the rich side of Seattle, right? When I worked at the doctor's office.
Extra hipster, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I worked at Hipster Shangri-La, you know, like I worked at a holistic naturopathic doctor's office, and not to say that we didn't, like, it was a large cross-section of people. There was a lot of people there that were also very based, you know, into, you know, like homeschooling their kids and using natural remedies and all this kind of stuff, because, you know, big pharma and all the stuff that, you know, RFK goes on about. But by the same token, I mean, I knew a lot of just, you know, there was a lot of girls there. Like they have this thing in Seattle called Han Solo season. And you can always tell it's Han Solo season because all the girls show up with their spiced pumpkin lattes. And, you know, and like they all have the leggings. They all have, like, you know, like a white kind of long sleeve shirt, and then and some kind of you know, Kirkland or the North Face kind of ruffled vest, and they all just look like Han Solo basically, and they all have like the exact same haircut. They're all just very you know, that's like funny. Right, and they all have, like, you know, boots that go up to their knees, and like it's just, you see this day in and day out, you know, time after time, and it is a very interesting place. I mean, I love the scenery of Seattle. But there are decent people there, but by and large, like, you have to put up with a very large degree of pretentious bullshit just to even get through the day. Part of the reason I don't work at the doctor's office anymore is because a whole bunch of pretentious women said, well, you need to get him out of here because he's you know, he's creepy. And it's like, I'm creepy because why? Because I say that you actually have to be accountable for your actions, and you can't just have a happy joy feel good society, you know, outlook on things, and too much optimism is just the same thing as too much pessimism. It's just, it goes in a different direction. And so, you know, when I would tell them to kind of get out of their diluted haze, they thought I was the biggest asshole on the planet that, you know, had to be, you know, censored and silenced and ultimately canceled and kicked out the door, which is what COVID Hell World ultimately allowed for. So yeah, I would imagine that's probably the reason why, you know.
Well, yeah, again, we're not going to know for sure, but I will add one other thing. It was the development team in Seattle that went to Twitter. They ran to Twitter and complained.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game's journalist media apparatus got involved, like websites like The Gamer and Kotaku, etc. All of them joyfully posting, because I know they were happy, that this was like evidence that, you know, that Marvel Rivals is getting, like, you know, it's not a good game and that you shouldn't support it. Why are they doing that? Because Concord failed. And they were 100% behind it, and they wanted the idea that the hero shooter was dead to be like the narrative, because their woke game failed within 10 days. And so when that didn't happen and Marvel Rivals came out, it was a massive success. And it just has good art direction. It doesn't do the woke shit. You know, it's just a game, even if it is like a Chinese product. They felt that they had to tear it down somehow. And when they learned about that, they immediately went to social media and they said, we got canned. These people are bad. This hero shooter is bad. Don't support it. They fire their employees. And then these websites went and they followed suit. And all of that, the truth of it is that the Seattle team seemed to be bitches because they went to social media to complain when it is likely they deserved it. And again, this brings me back to something that I've been saying, which is, if you want to compete with China, stop crying and make better games than China.
Put your head down and get to fucking work.
Yeah, get to work, because if you just, I'm telling you, like, it doesn't matter how much you hate the CCP and these Chinese companies. If they're making better games, those games are going to sell. So the West has to step up. They have to step up. Like, China, Japan, and Korea are killing it. They're all killing it. And Japan might be in some, well, actually, no, they've been picking up. So we would never have a problem with the fact that Japan and South Korea are doing well, because we don't see them as an enemy, and I get that, okay? Right. We do see China as an enemy, economically, at least. But the truth of the matter is, the way the market works, guys, no matter how much you hate the Chinese companies, people are buying their games here in America because we're not offering a better alternative. If we want to win, we have to offer an alternative. You know, Grum said something. I got to find his tweet about this.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead. What were you going to say? What were you going to say?
Well, to your point, like, the main difference is right now, China is at least, you know, by and large, understanding that the paradigm has to be a customer business relationship rather than just like a consumer mindset, right? And here, a lot of these Western companies, they just assume. And if you scroll all the way to the end of this article that we've got
Gamer
up here, for the Gamer, I'll prove my point to it, because like in this last little section, they start talking about how like it's being good. It might be a little bit higher. But
like,
there's a
players
link.
are mad about the layoffs.
There's a link. Yes, there's a hyperlink that says this time it's actually for something good, that people are railing against. You know, like
Steam reviews for good instead of evil for once.
Right. And where do you think that links to?
Yeah, I already know. Dragon Age: The Veiled Guard hit with anti-woke.
Exactly. And so like that's the thing. It's like, you know, like this and that's the thing, is like, you know, we do actually use articles from sites that I wouldn't necessarily recommend for, like, you know, like solid, you know, like well thought out kind of reporting and things like that, because, you know, that's part of the thing that we can actually engage with. And that's you know, one of those things like that I like that separates this doing this show from other things, is we actually do, you know, grab sources from all sorts of places, because it actually proves the point on certain things when you actually start looking at it through that lens. And so when you're dealing with these companies that just want to have this weird consumer paradigm in place, that's the thing that drives revenue cycling. And revenue cycling is the kind of bullshit that, you know, companies like Disney adhere to, where they keep gobbling up smaller companies so they can hide the numbers of what their actual, you know, business is doing, and they can go and they can just spin things. And as long as they can keep it spinning and sell that to investors to get more investor money and keep the stakeholder politics up, and, like, you know, the investing and all that kind of stuff, and get their, like, you know, DI, you know, cash flow and all this kind of stuff, the more that they can just propagate this bullshit that doesn't actually take an legitimate customer model into account. And if you actually have customers, You have to care about what their thoughts are. This article that you brought up where it says Dragon Age Veilguard hit with anti-woke review bombing. No, it bombed and people reviewed it for sucking ass. That is what it is. It's not review bombing. The game bombed. People reviewed how much of a turd it was. And so like that's the thing about like, you know, these weird kind of consumer mindsets is they think that they can top down drive narratives and tell you how to think on stuff because they're trying to prove a point rather than actually have a discussion. And when everyone comes to you and says, hey, I have this feeling on, I have this opinion, I bought this thing, or I'm not going to buy this thing because it's so terrible, that is valid, you know, and that's not review bombing. And so like, you know, a lot of these companies that are, you know, having to deal with the fact that people are fed up with these consumer mindsets, you've reaped what you've sown. And if you're going to lose your job over it, too fucking bad, tough titty, so sad.
Yeah, it's the reality.
Learn to dig ditches or fucking go like, you know, get vegetables out of the garden.
And I think I fully believe that Western developers can compete. They don't have the will because they don't have the people. Zarek says the problem is these people hate the U.S. They just work here and want their money. Yeah, you mean the leftists that work in those Seattle studios? Because leftists hate this country as much, if not more, I believe, than the Chinese do. At least the Chinese are willing to sell us some shit that we want to play.
Right.
You know,
right. They'll actually pay attention to what is it that people are interested in. Like, and when we were talking about like you get your head down, you get to work. Quite literally, when I jumped on the stream today, like, you know, 3 minutes before we started, what did I say to you? I just got done editing a video. I literally like 20 seconds before like we logged in because I've got stuff I got to do today. I just keep working because I'm trying to get that hustle on so that I can actually develop in this space. You don't get that by just expecting people to be like, oh, well, you're just going to listen to me because I've got this, that, or the other thing. No, you have to work. You have to work your ass off all the time. And it looks like we just got a super chat.
All right, I got a super chat from Master Goa. Thank you, Master Goa. We'll play this for you. And he gives us $5 and says, our games could compete with Chinese games, except that our devs are devoted to pushing their ideology because they need to groom TQIA plus into existence. Yes,
indeed.
They are. I think that the enemy at home might be more dangerous than the enemies abroad. But let me show you this tweet from Grums. This is a little bit more information. So Grums says NetEase isn't just laying off the 6-person Marvel Rivals team. NetEase is also pulling funding from Western and potentially Japanese gaming studios. The CEO is said to be very unsatisfied with Western developers, calling them lazy, entitled, slow, and woke, according to a source I spoke with. Does this surprise anybody? I mean, again, not confirmed, but doesn't sound crazy. Seattle-based, lazy, entitled, slow, and woke. Here's a list of studios under review and potentially at risks. Fantastic Pixel Castle, Rebel Wolves. I don't know a lot of these, but maybe you do. Worlds Untold, Shuttered November, Skybox Labs, Rumors of Issues, Bad Brain Game Studios, Jackalyptic Games, Jark of Sparks? Maybe it's Jack of Sparks. Anchor Point Studios, T-0 Entertainment, Bullet Farm, Quantic Dream. Oh, please. Because I want to, there's a game trailer that I think, no, it's not Quantic Dream. There's another, the people who made Life is Strange made another game trailer that I thought we could look at.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that thing is so gay.
Yeah, it's very witchy and lesbianic and shit. Spliced and Anchor Point Studios. These are huge investments by NetEase, founded by top veterans from AAA gaming and mostly made during the high-flying game demand driven by COVID boredom, a demand which has since contracted. We'll soon see what studios remain funded and which are left scrambling for new investors in a climate where, according to my source, it is extremely difficult to find game investors. And I overall trust Grums. I think that he's probably onto something, and that I don't think he would like say something, like he wouldn't make that claim without risking, his integrity. So I don't know for sure, but there you go. Norwegian says never heard of any of those studios. Yeah, I don't. I
have heard of Bad Brain Games. And Bullet Farm.
I think they're new studios that like some of the AAA guys some of the guys that used to work at AAA studios started. So they're like they're like recruiting people that used to work at big developers
Yeah.
and they're starting new studios.
But for the most part, no, I don't know most of this shit. But I mean, like some of them, and some of them I've only heard the names of, tangentially, or just kind of like, in the periphery of life, and I never took time to really look into any of them. So yeah. Like none of this seems like anything of value is being lost. I mean, Quantic Dream's a complete pile of shit. It's the most known company of this whole list, and if I remember correctly, they're the people that are responsible for Dustbin, right? That was them.
Quantic Dream, yes.
Yeah,
they gave us Dustbin.
Yeah.
So yeah, God, what a terrible. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think about this. I think that there is a couple things happening here, but ultimately what we see is the woke games media as well as developers and Western devs. They're lazy, entitled, and woke, which we knew, but also they are they were trying to use this story of this firing to create a bunch of like let's say dissatisfied sentiment towards the Marvel Rivals because they want Marvel Rivals to fail. They want it to fail spectacularly, and the reason is simply because their game Concord did fail, and that means Concord's failure. And I mean, like, it was a catastrophic failure. Concord's failure is a referendum on this kind of like ugly, LGBT, gay race, communist, global homo art style and gameplay and stories, because I know they were going with that. And all of that was rejected. Nobody wanted to play it. The game was ugly. The game was serviceable as a game, but it just, like, the art direction was trash. And they hated that people rejected it, but they also had to cope. So what they did was they said, well, it's because hero shooters are bad. I mean, Overwatch is falling off too. So it must be because hero shooters are dead. So yeah, that's it. It's not because our game is crap. It's not because it's ugly as shit. It's because hero shooters are dead as a genre. Meanwhile, Marvel Rivals comes out, massive hit, and they're like, wait, we can't now have this opinion that there's something wrong with hero shooters as a brand because this one is extremely successful. And the reason Marvel Rivals is successful, and I made a series of videos on it, is because of the art direction first and foremost. And they did a very good job with it. In fact, they recently, I think yesterday, and because they're also keeping it up as a live service game, they added 2 new heroes and a couple of maps. So now you can play as the Thing from the Fantastic Four and the Human Torch, and they're very cool. Like they didn't make him a woman. They didn't make anybody black. They just put them, like, from the comics in there. That's all you have to do. It's so easy. The work has already been done for you guys from the 60s. All you have to do is adapt it and put it in. And that's what they did. And it's huge success. So they're coping and seething about it because it is essentially, the message is, your shit, nobody wants it. So all you got to do now is swallow your pride and say, okay, let's make what the customer wants. That's all you got to do. And they don't have the ability to do that. They don't have the humility. It's what we're lacking in our day and age, like, big time. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I want to make sure I'm still online because my chat's been quiet. But yeah, we're still rolling.
Yeah, okay. Looks like I got the feed up.
No issues. Okay, that's fingers crossed, I guess. Knock on wood. All right. Corinne Busche is in the news.
Corinne, the minge.
Yes. Yes. So what's going on with that? So, okay. Corinne Busche, former director of Dragon Age The Veilguard, pictured here at BioWare, has recently joined Wizards of the Coast to work at their newly formed Skeleton Key Studios. Talk about failing upwards. This move, confirmed by insider reports in early February 2025, follows her departure from BioWare after the lackluster performance of The Veilguard, which sold under 1.5 million copies against an expected 10 million copies. Her hiring by Wizards of the Coast was initially kept quiet, discovered via an internal Teams org chart, sparking speculation about her role given her controversial tenure at BioWare. Reports indicate that Busche is not working on Baldur's Gate 4, as some had feared, but is instead leading the revival of a shelved Dungeons & Dragons project codenamed Dante, according to a Wizards of the Coast insider cited by Smash JT on February 20th, 2025. Dante, previously troubled under Hidden Path Entertainment, is being resurrected at Skeleton Key Studios with Busche as game director. Project is described as a AAA title focused on immersive gameplay and storytelling, though concerns linger about its direction, given its past issues with ideological overreach and Busche's track record. While Baldur's Gate 4 isn't currently her assignment, the insider suggested WotC, that's Wizards of the Coast for short, in short, might rebrand Dante as such if it falters, leveraging the franchise's popularity post Baldur's Gate 3. Wizards of the Coast has not officially commented, leaving Busche's exact impact on Skeleton Key's future uncertain. So, I'll let you give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, the woke tards of the coast do not make good decisions. You know, they do make a lot of money in doing synergistic kind of you know, like that stuff I was just talking about, like, you know, like synergistic branding, licensing deals, all this kind of stuff, and they use that as a way to try to, like, you know, dangle shiny keys in front of people. At one point in time, you know, Magic the Gathering was, I think, you know, very serviceable game. Same thing with Dungeons and Dragons, but in recent years, you know, like they've both been completely undermined to the point of lunacy, and they're just trying to use their opulent spies that they were able to build up over, you know, a good number of years and decades to, you know, keep themselves moving forward off of just sheer velocity. But this, you know, is just this is where they're at. Like they're so led by ideology that they can't even get out of their own way. You know, like they're still doing stunt hires and casting people into roles that clearly have no actual merit to be there. I don't know anything that Corinne Busche has been involved with that has actually been a successful property in the entire, I think, roughly 10 years that she's been in the game industry.
Right.
And I'm being kind. Let me correct myself. That Andy has been in the game industry, you know, and so
Corinne Busche, in case you guys don't know, is a dude.
Yeah.
Cosplaying as a woman.
Yes, which is the reason why we have today's thumbnail. But yeah, like I don't know at any point in time that this is kind of like, you know, those quote unquote athletes that can't compete with other men, and so they find a way to, like, you know, kind of like boost themselves by competing with women. And, you know, the game industry has been ideologically driven about platforming women for at least the last 15, if not 20 years, to my knowledge. You know, it was 20 years ago that the Women in Games special interest group was put into play and put into motion. The woman that was the head of our game department was the first president of the group. And in recent years, the video that I put out on that last year, they don't even care about women in women in games anymore. They're more focused on trans women, quote unquote, and platforming them, and you know, women of color. So like you have to have some kind of other, you know, thing going on. So they're all about ableism. They're all about, like, you know, like fucking victimhood Olympics kind of bullshit and things like that. And so if you go and you hire someone who falls under one of these categories, well, you'll get, you know, good press from Women in Games and all this kind of stupid bullshit. And, you know, GDC's right around the corner. So I'm just waiting for more information to come out. So that I'm going to, like, this year, since I'm not really making video content like I was last year during GDC, I'm going to do all my research and just start bringing it to the various channels that I do stuff on, so we can actually just start talking about it in real time.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is the nature of these things, and this is how they move themselves forward. Is you know, like this is the ideological mindset that works behind the scenes, and we're just seeing it at the surface level play out with moves like this, like hiring somebody who clearly has no depth or range to even, you know, be qualified even remotely for what they're doing, has lost not only, you know, millions of dollars in profit, but has actually led to, you know, company-wide shutdowns and things like that. Like you have to suck pretty bad to not only lose your job, but to lose everyone else's job too.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And getting a lateral move like this is just par for the course for people that would rather have the appearance of doing good than actually giving a shit about doing good.
Yep. It's all nepotism. It's a club. You're not in it. You're normal.
Yep.
And this is basically weirdos looking out for each other. And a word about the trans thing, in case somebody thinks it's inappropriate. I think that we should bear in mind here that a person who identifies as trans or non-binary or whatever, there's a number of reasons for this. There are people who genuinely have gender dysphoria.
Oh, sure.
But they are very, 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 very rare. And what we have to be able to do, this is where it gets tricky, but I think people have to have the courage to just say, you know what, I don't care if you call me a bigot. I think that's actually happening now. People are sick and tired of it. They're just, they're done with the scolding. But there are people who are trans, and that's a tiny, tiny percentage. There are people who are just drag queens. Drag queens is just a performance. That doesn't make them trans. It doesn't even make them gay necessarily, because it's basically a minstrel show of a man dressing as a woman. It is.
I know, but the dual meaning of a minstrel show.
Yeah. It's a minstrel show. Then there are people who are just like coom-headed gooners that just they watch so much porn that they basically think they want to live as a woman, and then there's something sort of related to that. It's called autogynephilia, which is a sexual fetish where men imagine themselves as women or they want to live as women. But it also goes the other way too. So that would be like autoandrophilia, I think. But so, and I think the people like Corinne Busche and those folks, most of them are probably just autogynephiliacs or something like that. Do you remember the movie The Silence of the Lambs?
Oh, of course.
Anybody remember Silence of the Lambs? I know, but like it's an old movie, but it's a great movie. This came out in the 90s, and Hannibal Lecter explains Buffalo Bill in the movie and says he thinks he wants to live as a woman, because that's like the plot, is that he's like stealing skin off of women so he can make a suit or whatever. But he is not transgender. He explains that, or I think maybe back then we called them transvestites, I think. But he says it is like a sexual thing that he's doing. So this wasn't just the movie trying to cover its own ass. That was how we talked about this stuff back then. We were able to just be like, yeah, you're not trans. You're just a pervert. You're just a sexual deviant. And now we can't say that, because it upsets people.
Right.
So,
and to that point too, like there are people that want to have their right to privacy and just want to live their life. And like, if that's what you're doing and you're just living your life, you're being you doing whatever.
I don't care.
I don't give two shits, and so like, but there's a big difference between people that just want to live their life and not like, have like a whole bunch of Tinker Tape parades and victim Olympic kind of stuff, like, pushing them forward. Those are very different people,
Yeah, that's how you know. That's kind of how you know, because if they're keeping it to themselves, then that's probably legit. If they're putting it out on like center stage and they're making a big show out of it, then no, it's probably something else. It's probably not, because you would recognize, like, if you have gender dysphoria, you recognize it as a disorder and you're just making the best of it. You're not forcing the world to accept you. So, or, you join the rationalists and you like assassinate like 6 people. You know about that? Do you know about that?
Not that one specifically, but I do know
there's a troon cult called the Rationalists, and or the ZZs, and they've assassinated like 6 people. I covered it on a news show a couple weeks back. Crazy people, but anyway,
I've heard about it tangentially, but that's the first time I've heard the name of the group.
Yeah. Apparently, the one leader. This is going to be like some Charles Manson shit. The leader like faked their own death, and then they got arrested by the cops recently. It's crazy.
Wow.
But it's completely rational. They're like literally that's what they think. Anyhow, about Corinne Busche, I want to say what the project she's working on. I don't know obviously what it is, but I was just thinking that what other D&D projects could it be? So there's the Baldur's Gate franchise is great. It's very successful. I just off the top of my head, I thought of a couple. So they attempted to make Dark Alliance. So there was an old games called Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1 and 2. I thought they were freaking awesome. They were on PS2. and like so that sort of generation of games. And then there was an attempt to make a newer Dark Alliance a few years back. That was terrible. Like it had so many bugs. It basically didn't work. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they didn't have good people on their team. Right. And so they might be trying to resurrect that. But what I'm also thinking is a couple of other games that they could be going back to. One might be there was a game called Planescape Torment. And I could see that if Corinne Busche was on that, I could see them using that setting because it's like this multi-dimensional, very weird and out there setting to like bring her talents to. And we've seen what they've done to D&D already. And then there's Neverwinter Nights. So we might get another Neverwinter Nights. We might get, that, what is it called? We might get that Planescape Torment. So we'll see. Or Dark Alliance, one of those. We'll see, and we'll follow up. I'll let you know what they do or when they make an announcement. But not knowing that Corinne Busche is associated with it should tell you everything you need to know. So yeah. And by the way, speaking of D&D, when we do cake later, I'm going to show you guys something that you're going to like if you don't want to give Wizards any more of your money. All right, so Xerax gave us a message. I just want to read his message. It's not a super chat. He says, I retweeted a Better Bachelor post regarding Grok appearing to able to manage D&D campaigns with parameters you set. Something to keep in mind regarding this news. So yes, I saw that. That was really neat. So you can, if you have, I think if you have access to Grok, which is the AI for Twitter or X, you can actually have Grok be a DM in a D&D campaign, and it will create adventures and everything, and you'll be able to play D&D with Grok. So you can get, like, let's say you have a group of friends and they all want to play D&D and nobody wants to be the dungeon master, then Grok can do it, I guess. So I don't know. That sounds kind of interesting. I usually DM anyway, so I'm not really sweating that, but thank you for that. That's interesting, Xerax. It's crazy what these things can do now. So all right, Marian Rebarik says, not Planescape. Yeah, maybe. I think that if there's anything that a kind of woke, postmodern leftist could make into a world and use that setting to justify their bullshit, it's the Planescape setting. Because it's all about moral relativism at the end of the day, and they love fucking around with that stuff. And so I suspect that that's what they may do. I mean, I know it's terrible because I understand Torment is a really good game, but it's also very old. So anyway.
Well, it is better to be morally right than factually accurate. So
that's right. It's better to be morally right than factually correct. All right. Anyway, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're going to move on to the next story. This is a little bit about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Just some interesting news. So,
when we do cake, I got something I want you to see.
I already know what you're gonna say. I think I know what you're gonna say. But we will. Okay.
Indeed, because it relates to this. It relates.
I know what you're. Yeah, so I know. Yeah, I bet. Okay, so pictured here is the Itate Hyozu Shrine. It is a real Shinto shrine in Hyogo Prefecture, and there's been a response from the Japanese to Assassin's Creed Shadows and their in-game depiction of this shrine. So, alongside mixed sentiments from the broader public. In early February 2025, a gameplay video surfaced showing the protagonist Yasuke destroying parts of the shrine's interior, including the altar, prompting a reaction from its caretakers. According to Japan's Sankei News on February 20th, 2025, representatives of the Itate Hyozu Shrine stated they were, quote, taking appropriate action, end quote, over the unauthorized inclusion and destructible portrayal of their sacred site. They emphasized that Ubisoft did not consult them beforehand, adding, quote, if they had contacted us, we would have refused, end quote. While the exact nature of their appropriate action remains unspecified, potentially ranging from a formal removal request to legal measures, it reflects significant displeasure with the depiction. Public sentiment in Japan, as reflected in various reports and online discourse, shows a bit of a divide. Some Japanese individuals and commentators like YouTuber Shohei Kondo have expressed outrage, viewing the shrine's destruction as disrespectful to Shinto traditions and broader Japanese culture, especially given Shinto's deep cultural significance. Over 80% of Japanese people are affiliated with Shintoism and Buddhism. This criticism aligns with earlier controversies surrounding shadows, such as perceived historical inaccuracies with Yasuke's portrayal and other cultural missteps. Yeah, for sure. Amplifying feelings of disrespect. And you know, the Japanese, they are not fans of being disrespected. Posts on X and comments on platforms like Reddit highlight this frustration, with some accusing Ubisoft of consuming Japanese culture without respect. Conversely, others argue the backlash is overblown, noting that Assassin's Creed has a history of irreverence towards religious sites, like fistfighting the Pope in Assassin's Creed 2, and that the destruction is optional, player-driven, and not mandated by the game's narrative. Funny you should mention Catholicism, which is the one religion, Christianity, that you're allowed to do whatever you want to and no one gets upset and demands anything. Try doing that in a mosque, Ubisoft. Let's see what happens. Do that. Go to burn down a synagogue in your game. Let's see what happens. Ubisoft had not publicly responded to this specific shrine issue as of February 22nd, 2025, though the company previously addressed Japanese concerns in July of 2024, acknowledging criticism over cultural representation and framing shadows as historical fiction meant to entertain, not offend. The late Hyozu Shrine controversy, however, has escalated tensions further, with some reports suggesting the shrine formally requested its removal from the game. Without official confirmation of Ubisoft's next steps or the shrine's precise demands, the situation remains unresolved. And this is just another mark against Ubisoft. If this game doesn't make $1 billion, that company is going under. This is going to be the death knell, I think. But John, what are your thoughts?
It's definitely going under. I will just say that as a precursor to all this. But you know, the hypocrisy of all this is something that I can point to from over 20 years ago. There was this game that came out called Metal Gear Solid 2. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. But you know, it came out shortly after this weird date. It's very obscure, September 11th, 2001. And you know, like the original ending of the game, there was going to be a plane crashing into the Wall Street district. And the game was like so close, it was like in gold status, and it was set to do like, you know, what it needed to do. And they completely pulled the game, you know, from getting released so they could rework the ending, because they thought, you know, that might be a little bit insensitive considering, like, you know, like how fresh and deep this is, like, you know, like for people to actually have to contend with. And so, you know, when you get these asshat Canadians who can't even appreciate the fact that, like, the Japanese culture is steeped in traditionalism, like they are very, you know, closed off, and they do not want, you know, anyone coming in.
They're nationalist, they're conservative, they're traditional, they have a code of honor. Yes.
Right. And so when you go and basically effectively say, well, you're overreacting, but yet at the same time, like, you know, like we could be hypercritical to anybody that would do anything here, you know, for like, they're just some buildings in the trade center, like, you know, and like there's kind of this thing in gaming where you kind of have to, you know, intellectual property rights are a thing, and you actually have to, like, you know, pay attention to that. Like, there used to be car racing games that would come out, and they still do nowadays, that don't actually have licensed vehicles because, you know, crash physics. And Ford does not want their cars getting smashed up in a video game, you know?
Yeah.
BMW does not, you know, Chevy, all of them, by and large, generally don't want their cars to be associated with wrecks and things like that. So you have to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole and this and that, and do everything just so that you can actually possibly have things like that even in the game remotely. And so this being something that Ubisoft is committed to, you know, the only thing that this title is there for right now is for a bargaining chip, so that when the ultimate sale to Tencent takes place, they can actually have something that they can recoup on. It would be in their best decision right now to just hold off on putting this thing out until the sale actually goes through, because it's not going to make money. They're going to end up having to sell to Tencent anyways. So they should just use this as, like actual asset equity, to give it some value and let the people at Tencent come in, take from it what they glean as being appropriate, and then rework the thing and put it out when it's actually serviceable, because otherwise this is just going to ruin even more of, oh God, like, to say that there's any like good faith left in Ubisoft as a game company or the things that they're attached to is farcical at this point in time. But
yeah,
like that, and that's where we're at. Like, this thing can only seek to cause more damage at this point in time, and them just flagrantly, and flippantly just telling Japan "fuck you" basically the whole way through this process, and getting every step of the way completely and utterly wrong, and being defiant about it, is all the more reason why people should not support this thing. Yasuke's not even Yasuke. They should just have it as an NPC character at this point in time, and just have it be a female fucking assassin, because he's not even the assassin. The game's called Assassin's Creed, and now they have it so that it's quite literally two skins that you choose between.
Didn't they move away from that like way back already? Like I think in Assassin's Creed Odyssey or
sure, but
Valhalla or something, where they moved away from the whole assassin thing.
Right. Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Is like Assassin's Creed doesn't even have anything to do with an actual storyline anymore. It's just this is like Madden.
They're just picking points in time and like
it's action
job on it.
Yeah, it's action adventure game 2025. And this is their version of Maddenizing action adventure games, and but when you take into account Yasuke specifically, just now being reduced to nothing more than just a character skin, the best thing they could do is put the actual legitimate Asian character that it started off as in the game. And if you want to leave Yasuke in your stupid fucking cutscenes, fine, have at it. But
Lloyd's-K.
Right, indeed. But this thing
is
complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah. Also, a couple of other things about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I didn't make a story, but I thought I would drop it in here really quick. So, Robert Johnson says, did you catch the story about the Shadows art book featuring the Japanese Imperial burial grounds and all of the armor sets that can be looted from it? No,
yes.
But that's the thing.
I have read about that.
Yeah. So Ubisoft, this is why I think they fucked up. So before, when they were like desecrating and attacking religion, they were attacking Christianity for like most of the games that I played, because as Altair and the original Assassin's Creed and Ezio Editore and the other two, the following two, you're going up against the Templars, right? Basically the Catholic Church, the Crusaders, whatever you want to call it. And all that was fine. Like nobody, it wasn't really a big deal. Nobody cared. Whatever. And I think genuinely, you probably find some people that are religious that would say, oh, I don't think that's appropriate, or I think it's blasphemous or whatever. But generally, there wasn't an outcry. Nobody was calling for censorship or anything. Okay. And even then, they claimed from the beginning that this is supposedly like they're using history to tell a story that is more fantastical. So it's not supposed to be like, like Kingdom Come Deliverance accurate, at least as accurate as it used to be. But it is at least based in that, kind of like, people talk about the movie The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, which, by the way, I'm really sick and tired of people using that as their defense. The movie title does not refer to Tom Cruise.
No.
The Last Samurai, the word samurai is a singular and a plural, like the word ninja. So if I say ninja, I could mean plural ninja. People say ninjas, but that's not a thing. It's ninja, plural, or ninja, singular. Samurai is the same way. So not only is it not referring to Tom Cruise, because it is referring to the plural, it's specifically referring to the remainers, the remaining samurai class that Tom Cruise befriends and like works with. And the purpose of Tom Cruise's character is to be he's the fish out of water. That's like a trope in movies that you see all the time. Somebody goes somewhere foreign and then they get to know the people, and at first maybe they're like bigoted or whatever. They have like their they have their assumptions, and then they like learn about them, and it changes them, and in turn they change the culture a little bit, where they like the culture embraces them, right? So
right.
The Last Samurai does not refer to Tom Cruise. It's everybody else, Ken Watanabe and all the other samurai guys that are over there. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that that's literally based on a real person. They just changed the names around. And when the director of The Last Samurai was interviewed and they said, is this history or Hollywood? He said, it's Historywood, which means that it's we're trying to show what the Meiji period was like. And they were trying to do that accurately, but they were telling a story on its own. Right. So again, if you're one of those people that I refuse to see it because fucking white savior bullshit, you've done yourself a disservice. It's a good movie, and literally he is just a passenger on a ride. He's not the hero. He's not a Mary Sue. He's just like with the other guys, and I think it's a great movie. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. And also the game Neo, which is another one that gets brought up. The white character in that is a real historical figure, and he's based on a real person, and there is a story there. So, but Neo never pretended to be historically accurate. You're literally fighting yokai, which are demons. So it is a game. Like, it's a game first that never claimed to be historical. So,
right.
Anyway. So let me see. I want to say that, and there was something else about this. Oh yeah. So I think that Ubisoft got it in there. They got accustomed to just doing whatever they wanted when it came to religion. I don't know that you could upset like Vikings or Greeks, by destroying like a temple of fucking Cassiopeia or something. I don't think that would be an issue. But because Shintoism is still alive and well today, then I think that that's one of the things that they failed to understand, because they got accustomed to doing this stuff in all their other settings, that they might offend people. But also, they don't really have a lot of, these people who claim to care about other cultures, they don't really care about other cultures. No. Like, ultimately, the Japanese culture, they probably despise because, again, it's highly homogenous, it's organized, they believe in law and order, they're clean, they're very conservative and traditional.
They're white adjacent, basically.
Yeah, they're white adjacent because they're Asians, and they love capitalism. So, like, they're everything that these people hate. So, of course, they're going to do that. So, anyway, I think that was mainly what I want. Oh, I was going to mention something else about there was another thing about this Yasuke thing. I'm trying to remember what it was. No, not that. There was something else I wanted to mention about this. Another like little controversy I heard about, but I can't remember it now.
Well, there is the thing that got mentioned in the chat. So Tomb Raider, of course, got raked over the coals for cultural appropriation, and Lara had to be changed from what she's doing.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider or something. It was one of the
right, and she had to be changed, to somebody who's actually trying to find these relics and return them to people. Where the thing that got mentioned is, you can actually go into burial tombs in this game and quite literally lift. You're a grave robber as Floydski, and you're getting your samurai.
Oh yeah, Yasuke is in Neo as a boss, but that wasn't the thing I was thinking about. It was something else. But again, like, the Neo never pretended to, be anything other than what it was. Like, it wasn't trying to, like, you see, the thing is, if you go to the guys at Tecmo Koei, you know the Tecmo guy who like makes all of Ninja Gaiden games and Dead or Alive? He's like the edgiest dude I've ever seen. Like this, yeah. He's got long hair, sunglasses. He walks around with a leather jacket, and he's like the
everywhere.
Japanese Razor Fist. Yeah, I think he's got a katana on him at all times. Anyway,
wears his aviators.
The guy. Yeah, he wears sunglasses. That's the guy. He's obviously is more concerned with aesthetics and vitalism and action than history and like sending a message. So anyway, they make not the thing about, I don't know, did they make him gay? I don't really care. It was something else. It might come back to me later, but I just wanted to remember it, but I can't, for some reason. It's just like, it just fails me right now. Anyway,
that's all right. It'll come back.
Yeah, it'll probably come back.
or one of these
Yeah.
future episodes. It hasn't crashed into the market just yet, but it's going to.
Yeah. Well, let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. So let's look on the next story. So, okay. So as of February 22nd, Elon Musk has confirmed that XAI, his artificial intelligence company, is launching an AI-powered gaming studio with the stated goal of making games great again. This initiative was first hinted at in November of 2024 when Musk responded to Dogecoin co-creator Billy Marcus on X, expressing frustration with the gaming industry's corporate ownership and ideological trends, saying, quote, too many game studios that are owned by massive corporations. XAI is going to start an AI game studio to make games great again, end quote. The sentiment was reaffirmed in February when Musk stated during the Grok 3 launch live stream on February 17th, quote, we're launching an AI gaming studio at XAI. If you're interested in joining us in building AI games, please join XAI, end quote. The studio's vision appears tied to Musk's critique of modern gaming's perceived woke elements like forced diversity or political messaging, and a desire to refocus on creativity and fun. While specific projects remain undisclosed, Musk has shared ambitions for the studio to leverage XAI's AI technology, particularly on the Grok 3 model. During the live stream, Grok 3 demonstrated the ability to generate basic arcade-style games like Tetris in Python, and posts on X from Musk indicate plans to integrate photorealistic graphics into dynamically created games that evolve uniquely for each player. He mentioned on February 20th, we're starting work on integrating dynamically created high-resolution graphics with a goal of potentially producing AAA game by next year, as stated on February 21st. I think we've got a shot at making a AAA game sometime next year. The team is in its early stages, with an X post from XAI employees suggesting a small initial crew of 9, including Musk. Recruitment is active, with Musk and XAI inviting developers to join via posts like join the XAI team, and an email address. That is the email address, in case you're interested, is gamestudio@x.ai for interested candidates. The studio will utilize XAI's robust AI infrastructure, including the Colossus supercluster in Memphis, which boasts 100,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, with plans to expand to over 1 million GPUs. Details remain sparse on the studio's structure, specific game titles, or timeline beyond Musk's aspirational AAA target for 2026. Critics question the feasibility, citing Musk's lack of game development experience and industry resistance to heavy AI use, while supporters highlight his resources and disruptive track record. For now, the studio is a fledgling venture with ambitious AI-driven goals, but concrete outputs are yet to materialize.
Mm-hmm.
So, XAI Game Development Studio, and I have this other thing I want to show you. It's kind of a little like peek, I guess. So here's Mickey Friedman. And he says, I recreated my favorite childhood game with Grok, Bubble Trouble. The game is filled with bouncing bubbles that behave with realistic physics. They bounce off walls, and when hit by the player's projectile, split into smaller bubbles. You win where they disappear. It's kind of like asteroids, but you're moving along the bottom. And there's I don't think there's sound for this. No, there isn't. But that's what the game looks like. He made this with Grok.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is actually similar to a game that I had made back when I was in design school in using what was it, Flash? But of course, this is I think the more accurate thing to call this would be modular procedural data array driven games, right? And by that I mean stuff that is using shader controls and this and that, and like it's actually got like the physics. Calling it AI is more of like a branding thing.
I was wondering about that, but go on.
Yeah, because I mean, like this is very mathematically based, but this is something that people have ostensibly been able to do for like the last 20 years. I was doing it with assets and animation sets, but this is using shaders. And so, can you advance beyond this and make more interesting shaders and things like that? Totally. But like I say, I think calling this AI is more of sizzle than steak at this point in time, because a lot of this is, especially with them being the puzzle-driven games, because this is, in many ways just a lot of calculations, things like that. So an AI-driven game, to me, seems like it would suggest something else. But I mean, I applaud the interest and the effort. If they actually want to make stuff that plays to a customer base, by all means. My concerns, though, when it comes to XAI as a game company, is they are looking to get their funding from the same sources that so many others are, like BlackRock and Vanguard and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know so much that you can really change the system by going along with the movers and shakers that have kind of brought it to its knees.
Right.
But we'll see what happens,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't really know how to feel about this. Let me share it again, because Master Goa took off for a little while. I should punish you for not staying, but no, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen, but the truth is, this is what is happening. Like, we have to live in the world and like understand that this is like a direction. That doesn't mean that people aren't still making their own things, and I hope that they continue to do that. And we're going to look at some cake in a little while about that. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be another challenge for people who want to, create games, and they're going to be up against this competition. I don't know that we can, like, the thing about BlackRock and Vanguard and Blackstone and all of those like large like financial
hedge funds
guys, those big giant things. The thing about them is that they do exist. I don't think we can get rid of them.
No,
I think the only way is to basically like not work with them. But at the end of the day, it's probably better that, maybe if they moved away from that whole, like, we have to force behaviors and all that. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're ideologically driven to do that. Hello, Generic Jam. Yo, what's up?
Yeah.
Welcome to the stream. So I think AI will push innovation. Yeah, I think there'll be like creative, like I see it like this. I don't think AI can make anything from nothing. But hello, Apple Eater with Rome. Welcome to the chat. Hello in Rumble. You guys follow my Rumble channel. It needs to grow. I really want Rumble to become a viable like platform. And then for a lot of people it is. Dr. Disrespect is there and stuff. But anyway, but I do think it can be a useful like tool on the side. Like I think right now there's people who have used AI to do fun things on top of things. Like my friend Carl Sargon of Akkad, he was playing Skyrim, and he, on his channel, I think it's called The Pondering, where he does his game streams, and he had he befriended a giant in Skyrim with AI. And so he was able to type chat with the giant, and the giant will talk back. It even had a voice, and it even had like an accent, like it had like a Swedish accent. And he, walked around with his giant friend, and he went into a town, and he would like tell the giant things to do, and the giant would do them. I think that's super cool. Like, to have like companions or NPCs that use AI to talk, I think that's a really neat idea. The other thing is, I think another thing I've seen it used for is to sort of like, like redo textures. So, somebody took, I think it was Half-Life, and, Half-Life, great game. I plan on playing it, by the way, at some point. I'm going to do a VR mod and play it in VR. I've never played it before. But anyway, somebody took Half-Life, and they took all of the textures, and they use AI to make them look, I wouldn't say like photorealistic, but like way like nicer,
Yeah.
And AI cleaned it up. And there's upscale it. And then there was also AI that was used to like fill in the gaps in animation so that you can like run games at what appeared to be a higher frame rate, because AI was filling in the gaps. Like, those are some really neat ways that you could use it. And I think that it is here. Like, there's nothing we can do about that. But I would like basically say, before we start talking about like Skynet, we should.
No. I mean, well, like I was saying earlier, this game that we're looking at right here, the game that I had made 20 years ago it was just like for an art class. And I mean, I never really did anything more with it other than just make it for the purpose of like, my final Mine was driven because I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. If people haven't picked that up yet on various shows, but huge, right? And this was when Year Zero. This was when Year Zero was coming out, and so I was doing like a whole bunch of projects based around Year Zero that at that time. And the way that I had it set up was that there was different audio cues and stem files and things like that that were attached to the various objects that you shot at in the game, and and so you were basically making real-time remixes out of music, and so but it was pulling, like I said, data array sets, and so it just would pull it from a bank of possible sounds that were associated with this kind of object. If it was this kind of object, it would do more. You could change tempo controls and all this kind of so there is a lot of interesting stuff that can be done, and in the space that is interesting and strange, and peculiar. But yeah, it's more of kind of like a tool asset than the be all end all. I would say. I think you're always going to need to have legitimate, cognizant storytellers that are able to oversee these things and just utilize the tools. It's the same idea like these people that complain about AI art as though it's somehow lesser. And it's like, well, you really have to know what you're doing to bot whisper. And that's what I call it. To actually get these things workable. And more often than not, you'll end up getting an asset that you'll still have to actually do legitimate artwork to, to fill in those things that the robots, they just don't understand about reality, because they're taking everything from pre-existing data sets and just interpolating it into something that seems kind of fresh and new, but it's also familiar in that regard. And so sometimes I use AI assets in the thumbnails that I make here. Other times I just I'll go and I'll just find a logo. Like today I just literally took an image from one of the stories that we had done. And and then I just went and I found the Dungeons and Dragons logo, and then I just went and changed dragons to drag queen again, because I did that before with Fail Hard, and and so we're doing kind of a sequel to that. So there's always got to be, when you're doing the artwork, there's got to be some kind of actual consciousness associated with it to drive it and get it to the ultimate destination. So I don't think that we should be in fear of AI tool sets and things like that, but ultimately just learn how to appreciate and use them as effective tools to speed up the process. But
they're going to be supplementary.
Right.
So people are going to lose jobs, but maybe that's okay. Maybe, again, if the Netease firing that team in Seattle because they're lazy, entitled, and woke is any sign, maybe there are people who, if they're not going to be operating at their potential and they're just there to get avocado toast with their latte, then maybe they shouldn't work there and AI can do their job. So I think it's going to be, if anything, mostly just supplementary. Now, did you want to say something about your concerns about Elon Musk in general regarding?
Well, I kind of was already, mentioning the investment stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I will say that Gabriel is calling me out, saying that I'm a hack artist confirmed. So to that, I can only say, I can laugh at it because I use AI elements here and there, but I can at least say that, much like you, I graduated from an art school where you probably had to maintain a B average just to be able to graduate. So, and that was before the days of AI being fully even understood, let alone vaulted as this great, amazing tool set. So I never claimed to be, the most proficient, amazing artist. When I went to art school, I found a lot of people there where I was just like, oh yeah, I'm a good studio artist. You need stuff done and you need it churned out and taken care of in an appropriate amount of time. And it's actually going to be done with that level of discernment that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can give you better than average quality work, but I'm not trying to sit here and act like I'm somehow some artistic genius or anything like that. We all have talent, skills, and abilities, and being able to utilize tools to fundamentally make your work easier is not a bad thing. I believe it was the camera obscura. Was a tool that they've been using. When you look back in history and you see all these etchings, and it looks like, why? How are people so good at capturing the human form back then. They were using holographic projection generally, and and tracing. So there's always been some level of art, intervening with current state technology and pushing it forward, things like that, to give you more robust outcomes than you could probably just be able to do just by your bare hands alone, things like that. So and I think that actually being able to embrace that makes you legitimately a better artist. Being able to work within limitation is important to challenge yourself, but also being able to strike that balance of knowing how to use things, when, why, and all that kind of stuff. That's really what art ultimately pertains to. It's math.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just like because like AI can make stuff, but I think at this point people are really like, well, first of all, they're sick of it. and they can see it. Like when they see AI art, they know it. They're like, that's AI art. So I think that people are looking for something more authentic. I'm not saying AI art isn't.
No.
I mean, it's obviously like somewhat artificial, but when I say authentic, I mean like they want authentic beauty that like something that speaks to the heart in a way that is hard to put into words, right? So, but yeah, I think my criticisms or like my concerns with Elon Musk are the same that they've been. I mean, I think he's still a transhumanist. He's got this Genghis Khan thing going on where he's like impregnating everybody. These are weird things, okay? These are weird things that I'm not sure how to feel about. But on the other hand, I wonder if he isn't on some kind of character arc, because when all that was going on, he was still like kind of probably a lib that cared about the environment and made his cars for that, and like had these ideas about putting microchips in people's brains and shit. I don't want any of that, okay? So we'll see, but I mean that is I will, I'm not going to pretend like that's not happening.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. So,
and I would say that those would be my same concerns when it comes to him. Is that ultimately anybody with that much power and influence, the money is merely the means to like to the amount of influence they have in our lives. But is he somebody who unleashed a bioweapon on the world? No, that's Bill Gates. So like does he want to do stuff with like transhumanism? Most assuredly so, and that is more than just a mild concern. Like I think that like a lot of what we see today in this identity politics, kind of gender dysphoria mindset is it's an identity crisis that was permeated specifically so that we can get to that point where there's just androgynous beings that are cyborgs more or less, and this is just one of the steps to getting that to be normalized.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that to some degree he still believes that, but I don't think that's going to go over well. I mean, like I love what he's doing with Doge. I love that. I want more of that. I'm here for that. They're going to be supposedly they're going to be releasing the list, the Epstein list. It's like imminent. Like this is what they're saying. Let's check it out. I want to know. But anyway, so let me know what you guys think about this AI based game studio that Elon Musk is putting together. Do you want to be a part of that? You can email again if you're interested. I mentioned it earlier. So yeah, we'll see. All right. With that said, let's get into we're gonna look at some trailers and do some cake. So all right, first I gotta talk about this.
Yeah,
so
we gotta do this.
This could be another story, but this is a new game coming out from the same studio. I think at least some of the people from the studio that brought us the Life is Strange series. Now look,
Bloomin' Rage sounds like some kind of summer eve. Some
people love those games, those Life is Strange games. Me personally, no, thank you. Not a fan. I'm not. Look, story games. Some people like. I tried Heavy Rain. I thought it was pretty decent, fun, but I wouldn't do it again. I played Beyond Two Souls. I played, some of the other Quantic Dream things. I think that my main problem with these kinds of games is that they are too often used as vehicles for propaganda, and that's why I don't like them. If they were just like Walking Dead, I never played it, but from what I understand, that was a good example of how to do it well. Or the one where you're like, as they call it, Wolf Among Us. You know, I guess those are good examples, but this is basically, I think that the general direction of all of these games, these story-oriented games, is moving towards a kind of, you know, like woke, gay race, communist shit. And I think this is an example. Now, let's bear in mind, it's PEGI 18, which means you have to be 18 or older, but the characters are all teenagers.
Right.
So I feel like it's going to be for like young adults, okay?
Yeah.
That's the target audience, probably young women. Let's take a look.
Woke white women all the way.
Yeah.
I look at this, to its credit, I will say this. It's its own piece of bullshit. It has its own smell and its own color, and it's not ruining anything that exists before, so it'll be easy.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's not destroying a franchise.
Right. So I will at least give them that. So thank you for just making your stupid little, like, you know,
well,
weird
that was also true
game.
of Dustborn, but yeah.
Right.
All right. So let's see how many red flags are in this video. First of all, we already got fat chick. So that's
should we say red flags or purple flags at this point in time?
Yeah, purple and blue. Yeah, for sure. All right.
Did you girls ever see anything weird around these parts? Back in the day, 27 years was a long time ago.
Gay,
I've
lesbian
been trying
witches.
to remember something just out of reach. My mom found a package on her doorstep.
Okay. So they're in a band, or somebody's a musician.
Totally.
There's a lot of gay shit going on. There's a palette. I don't know if you guys know about the gay palette or the bisexual color palette. You guys know about that? In art direction, bisexual color coding typically refers to the use of a specific color palette. Pink, purple, and blue derived from the bisexual pride flag. It's designed by Michael Page in 1998.
Media literacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink represents attraction to the same sex. Purple symbolizes attraction to both sexes, and blue stands for attraction to the opposite sex. Well, for both.
And notice, and the reason you're bringing this up, I'm assuming, is because of the gemstones on her necklace. She's got
these colors are all throughout this trailer, but they're also in a lot of other games that we've already looked at. Look at the color palette for Avowed. Posters and stuff. For Dragon Age: The Veilguard. You see, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
Dustborn, it's all pastels. Yeah, go ahead.
This character specifically that we're looking at, an amethyst and a turquoise stone, and then if you look at the earrings, an amethyst and a turquoise stone. So and that's like the thing is like they'll just be little hits, and like this is like not even 20 seconds in. You know, and like they're already starting to like lay the groundwork for what is going to be the next 2 minutes of your life.
Also, she's supposed to be a teenager. She looks like a 40-year-old crack addict.
Right.
It doesn't like she's supposed to be a teenager. Like,
bitch be jawed up like a motherfucker.
I know. Look at that jaw. Like,
okay. I got a jaw on me.
These are supposed to be kids. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The stickers that look. See, here we go. There's the pink and the purple.
Something just out of reach. My mom found a package on her doorstep. Our Bloomin' Rage.
Pink, purple. Look at that. Is that
Bloomin' Rage?
This one, second from the right, that's probably a dude. Like, you'll see. Like, I think that's probably a dude. Then, of course, you have the fat girl, and they're in a band. It's like a Kiss band. Dude, trans flags everywhere. Like, this is gonna be so bad.
Crush.
I can't wait. Should I? Let me ask you guys this. She's
got her flash art tattoos. Oh God, if you do.
I think it's actually out. This is out.
If you do, I will, and you do it at the appropriate time of day.
Should I play this game? I will stream it. You guys,
I will backseat game with you and just do over because I love doing
make
backseat.
that like next week's show. I don't know, depending on how much it is.
I love doing backseat gaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Look at this.
There are some things that I might not be ready to talk about ever.
Witches.
Well,
Montreal. Imagine that.
Of course. Yeah, Montreal. Let's go back. Let's look at that. Don't nod, Montreal. Fucking Canadians. Why do you guys keep doing this?
What the hell happened to Canada?
Oh my God. What is going on? Dude, Canada, just take Quebec, the whole thing, cut it out. Maybe include Ontario and
Right.
push it out onto the ice flow. Just send it
See,
off.
this-
Send it
whenever-
off.
Right, whenever I hear people like, "Yeah, man, we're gonna take Canada over, make it 51st state," it's like, please, God, no, we do not need this. Like, I don't want this.
It's oh God. Okay.
Welcome to the premiere of The Swan Show. I'll show you my natural habitat, suburbia.
Relive the summer of '95. So who is this for? Zerank says, "Silly me, I use colors for costumes in DC Universe online and pertain to backgrounds or motors. Rich, calm, spiritual, etc." Do people still play DC Universe online? I tried it for a little while.
I honestly couldn't say.
I assume they still do. Yeah, must
I would
be.
imagine.
Yeah. Don't nod,
Youper,
nigga. Don't
super.
nod. Yeah. Okay. So relive the summer of '95, and notice, other than this,
I
one
lived
year-
the summer of '95, and it was not this.
No. Well, unless you like, this is like probably California or something.
I mean, I was
in
14.
Chicago.
I do not. I do not recall any of this. Was not. This was not the thing.
95. I was like 20. 21, something like that. Maybe even older. Okay. Anyway.
You,
Again, look at the colors. That's a dude.
making a movie?
I'm
Pretty sure that's
making
a
a
bit.
documentary. Sorry, are you rolling?
These are not kids.
Yep.
They're supposed to be, but they look like fucking grown fentanyl users, like from San Francisco.
Whoa! Nice camera.
Leave her alone, loser.
Oh, of course. Wait, the evil white guy comes and he immediately starts bullying people. I bet he's the best character. Look at this chick. So she's obviously female. She's probably also evil because she's like blonde and her tits are out. So
Yeah.
that makes her a villain. This is a villain and this is a villain. They're just like, ugh.
Yeah, but they actually look like
nerds.
they're
You're
from
making a movie?
1995. Like,
Yeah, this is
like,
95. Yeah.
the kid on the bike was basically me in 1995.
Well, yeah, that's appropriate. Okay, anyway.
Leave her
Evil white
alone,
guy.
loser.
Make lifelong friends. We're in a band. This is lesbian shit.
Oh yeah,
This place is
total gay witch
awesome.
Why is it always that? Why do they always
I
have to
never
be
had
in a
friends
band?
like you. Thanks for putting up with me.
Ugh.
Jesus Christ.
She's evil because she's hot. That's true. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Oh God. And the fat girl, of course, like, you know, she's got like, you know, the most feeling. This, oh God, I can.
She's got
only
the.
imagine.
She's like the one that's like the most like.
Dude, the writing room for this.
self-esteem. She's the neediest.
Yeah. The writing room for this game development studio, if not the whole studio, must have smelt like a can of sardines.
Yeah, it's true. All right.
I've never had any friends like you. You've got my back, Swan. Always.
Can we be gay together? Jesus Christ.
Oh man, this is painful.
It
Like,
is.
the music, like, dude, okay. If you made this game and you aimed it at young girls and you took all the gay shit out of it and it was just like a story of friendship, purely friendship, and none of this anti-white, anti-male, pro-LGBT shit, it would probably, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like if it was just girls and they're just like, doing slumber parties and like talking about their feelings, it's probably fine. But the way that this is being packaged, it should be concerning. Like there's just
This is acolyte levels of gay.
It's got grooming written all over it, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Hail and what the F am I watching? Valkyria Winter. Tell me about it. This is called Lost Records Bloom and Rage. It is a story-driven game made by the people who brought us the Life is Strange series, which I believe is also pretty gay, but I never played them. So
Yeah. Yes, there's one specifically, one of the games in the series. I can't remember if it was like, I think they've done a few of them under Life's a Strange banners. One of them specifically about like a sapphic love story. If I remember correctly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Remember what happened? Why we made our
promise? Wait. So this is the dude. I'm pretty sure this is a man. I'm almost guarantee they're gonna reveal that one of those girls is a dude, and that's the one that I guess they're human race, bisexual color schemes. You see it?
They're gay orchids. Jesus Christ! And there's the trans flag right there.
Yeah.
And look at the trans flag right there.
Yeah, they're using the colors. It's completely like on purpose.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
They can't reveal the obvious. See, the series got gayer with each entry. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're talking about Life is Strange. Yeah, and I think the third one, there were 3 of them, right? I think there was like one. It was like a something about a photo. I can't remember the name of the last one.
Something. I'm sure that they tried to offer one. Like I'm pretty sure they tried to offer one as like a free download game at one point in time, and I did not. I would not. We got another super chat.
Yeah, Master Goa, thank you, Master Goa, gives us $5 and says, luckily Savvy is starting to notice the color agenda. Also, I like pastels. Is there any hope for me? Can we get some cake? Project The Perceiver. I will enter that, yes.
Yeah, Project Perceiver is pretty sweet, to my knowledge of it. From what I've seen of it, is pretty on point.
If there's a trailer that, because I don't want this to go too long, but
yeah. Well, I mean, we should definitely.
Okay.
We should definitely.
Demo. That's 50 minutes. I'm trying to find a short clip. Go ahead.
Yeah, we should definitely check out Yasuke Simulator because I want everybody.
That was the other one I wanted to look at.
Yes,
sure.
Yes, because everybody needs to know about this game. Everybody needs to wish list it. We brought this up on Will of the Fans the other day that we all need to have a grand act of defiance. And
is that in YouTube? Yasuke Simulator?
It's in Steam. It's in the Steam.
Well, I mean, but I want to look at a trailer of it.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if because when we looked at it the other day, we just found it on Steam, so that it might exist on YouTube now. But yeah,
I found it. Oh, that was it. That was the thing I wanted to mention. I did a video on this. Thank you, Master Gawa. I will definitely check this out. We're gonna be looking at games in a second. I forgot to mention this. I did a video on this. So, according to some sources, there is a scene in Assassin's Creed Shadows where I believe it's Oda Nobunaga, or that one of the like the daimyo to Yasuke has to commit seppuku, ritual suicide, and Yasuke acts as his second. So the second means that when you're a samurai and you're about to do the seppuku, there has to be a guy standing next to you, your second, and he's ready with a katana to cut your head off, so that you don't shame yourself when you stab yourself, and if you start crying or whining or whatever, and they cut your head off. Right now, in the game, they're giving Yasuke the honor of being the daimyo's second, and I made a video saying that is disgraceful because there is no way that he was the second to, I believe it was Nobunaga.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize if I am, because it was just something I thought of while I was here. So the reason why I think that's a problem is because Yasuke was a retainer, but that doesn't mean anything. Oda Nobunaga made him a retainer because he was fascinated by what he looked like. He was like, wow, this guy looks weird. I want him around me. It was kind of like a pet. That's really what it is. It's kind of like, when the king, a king of a nation has like a dwarf or a midget that he just has around, maybe even on a collar or something. That's what it is.
It's a novelty.
Yeah, it's novelty. It's like, oh, this person is something about them that is, maybe like they treat him like a kind of a charm. Like, oh, this person might be good luck or whatever, right? but they made Yasuke the second. They wanted him to have this great honor of being the second to Nobunaga. And they seriously made Yasuke Nobunaga second in Assassin's Creed. And I made a video about it where I said, this is like completely wrong. Like, this is disgraceful. I don't know if it's confirmed. This is just what I was told. This is what I heard. And I wanted to bring it up because this is the degree to which Ubisoft is willing to rewrite history. And I got so much hate in my comments. People were like, oh, you should read. Like, I was denying that he existed. I was obviously not denying he existed, but there's nothing written about him because he's not noteworthy, except that he lived with Nobunaga for a while. Most likely when Nobunaga was defeated or betrayed by Mitsunari, I think, Ashita. I believe that's the name. Mitsunari, who was one of his, like highest level dudes. When he was betrayed by him, Yasuke was probably killed along with all the other people, or he became somebody else's property, most likely. So the fact that they changed that, and I just wanted to make that clear because we may see that in the final product when it comes out, if it comes out at this point. But yeah, and I don't know what you guys think about that, but like the idea that Yasuke is Nobunaga's second is ridiculous. So anyway, that's how bad it's gotten. Okay, so let's look at this project, The Perceiver. I'm gonna put it up, and we're not gonna watch the whole thing because it's like 7 minutes long. But
this game looks good. This actually is one of other than Astrobot, there will finally be another game for the PlayStation 5. But it's also for PS4 as well. So
then I can get it for PS4. That's good because I have a PS4 still. So all right, let's see.
Wait 6 months to a year, it will be on
PC. Yeah. So it's Chinese. You know what? I'm okay with all these kung fu games because I love kung fu. So
yeah, no, this game is. I've looked at this thing a few times. Every time, it's just always a pleasure.
Really? Yeah. All right, let me just jump to some gameplay because I want to see what it looks like when you're playing it. So
yeah.
It reminds me of this game I demoed called Burning Sword Death Sun, which is kind of a kung fu game as well. I'm going to be interviewing the devs for that. I think either this coming Thursday or the Thursday after. I'm excited to that conversation. Maybe they'll give me a newer build. Thank you, Valkyria Winter. Please hit that like button.
Yeah. Oh, after we get done with this, don't forget that Dean Domino has a super chat.
Yeah, I have it up. I left it up on the screen here. Yep. Yeah, I will put it up. All right, let's see some more fight scenes. We'll get into that right now. We'll look at this really quick. And
Ghosts of what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this thing is so good.
Oh yeah.
Ghost of Yokai, get wrecked.
你还能为何而战？大唐之命系于斯民，人在则唐不灭。
Oh yeah. Yeah. Dude. Kind of stepping up, man. You guys gotta compete. It's the only way.
天下是苍生的天下，
We gotta fire all
梁还
these
是唐，
fucking woke bullshit.
这样子重要吗？
We got to be able to put in some work and do something great.
逆贼杀戮无道，如何相提并论？ 一将功成万骨枯，总有人要在阴影里背负罪孽。
Smoke bombs and shit. Chinese ninja. Lin Kuei, I think what they call them.
你那戏里的唐，真是你心中所念的唐吗？
All right.
Yeah, that thing is so badass.
I can't understand the characters they are speaking in tongues. You know what? What I would love This is what I would love, okay? Because I have this thing, and I know I've said this on the show before. When I play games that are in Japanese, I want to hear the Japanese language. So I usually like just add subtitles and I leave the language the same if I can. But when it comes to Chinese products, I actually would like them to be dubbed, but I want them to be dubbed like old 70s kung fu flicks were dubbed. Like I want that exact voice and the same kind of like the way of the manner of speaking, you know, where they go, huh, you know, like I want that. Wouldn't that be cool? I think that'd be so freaking cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that is Project the Perceiver. It looks good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for this. Now, granted, this is 2 years old, so I don't know if it's getting close to release or whatever.
It's one of those games where they're taking their time with it.
Yeah,
they're taking their time with it. It is tracking to be 2025, but you know, I'm sure that if they find that it's going to be to their benefit to delay it, they're going to do that, whatever it takes. This is like the next big thing that Sony actually seems to have that doesn't suck.
All right. Yeah, no, it does look good, but there's a lot of other games doing similar stuff.
Right.
Akechi Mitsuhide, yeah, thank you, Saltpeter Taffy. So like, you know, Phantom Blade Zero, I'm super interested in. Maybe if Black Myth Wukong goes on sale, I might pick it up because I've always loved the Monkey King, like always. I always thought he was cool. So I've always wanted a good game where you can play the Monkey King, and that seems to be the only one right now. So, okay, so I even bought the movie. I think it's called Hidden Kingdom or Forbidden Kingdom. It was like there was a movie with Jet Li and Jackie Chan. It was a Western film, but it had Jet Li and Jackie Chan in it. It was called The Forbidden Kingdom or The Forsaken Kingdom or something like that. Yeah. And Jet Li plays the Monkey King in it. And I bought that shit on Blu-ray because I like the Monkey King so much. Even though the movie itself was kind of mid, but it had some of the baddest fucking fight scenes. Like Jackie Chan and Jet Li have a fight in that. Woo, it's a badass fight scene. It's one of my favorite fight scenes. Anyway, if you've ever seen it, I think it's called Forbidden Kingdom, I think. But anyway. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next thing. This is a super chat from Dean Domino. Thank you, Dean Domino. And he gives us $4.99. Let me play a sound for Master Goa. You are now shark bait.
From this moment on, you will now be known as Sharkbait. Sharkbait. Ooh-ha-ha. Welcome, brother Sharkbait. Sharkbait. Ooh-ha-ha. Enough of the Sharkbait. Sharkbait. Ooh. Well.
All right. So then we got he asked us to look at, this is Dean Domino. He gives us $4.99. It says suggestions for indie trailer showcase Drivers of the Apocalypse, Rogue Mansion, and Hijutsu Rider. So let's start with Drivers of the Apocalypse. There is this might be an extended Steam trailer. We'll look at this one.
Yeah.
And let me just put it up on screen here. Oh, it is on screen. Let me just share it with the audience. Okay.
Yep. Mad Max.
Okay, so it's Mad Max. Yeah. Well, you know the Mad Max game was really good.
Oh yeah. It's actually not bad. Sweet.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there just because it's almost 1.
Yeah.
Drivers of the Apocalypse looks fun. Already wish listed. Yeah, dude. David Jaffe, eat your heart out. Twisted Metal is dead. Drivers of the Apocalypse is here, I think. Okay. I mean, it's your fault. You know, you could have stuck it out and did the right thing, but you decided to troon your daughter. Okay, Rogue Mansion is next. So Rogue Mansion. Let's take a look at this one. This show might go a little over because I want to show off something.
That's fine.
Too,
It's fine. I don't got anything going on until 5 o'clock. So.
Oh, Rogue Mansion looks like Resident Evil, kind of. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Is there a trailer? Yeah, here we go. It's like 5 minutes, but hope it's not Chris's blood. Okay. An indie game? Good to me. For this one I played a little bit of called it was like a Chinese game, but it was like something Antidote. It was kind of like Resident Evil-ish too. What a mansion!
Yeah, this is Resident Evil.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Silent Hill. That's Silent Hill right there.
Yeah.
It's getting weird. Yeah, I don't mind the low poly thing either, you know?
No. Games were perfectly fine back in PS2 days, you know?
Just had to be creative.
Yeah.
Is that like a... Is that a scorpion on his... Oh, it's a skull. Like a deer skull. Oh, okay. Uh-oh, your weapon broke. You have to punch, you have to box with them. Okay, that looks good. That was Rogue Mansion. And then I think the last one he mentioned is Kijutsu Rider. Let's see. I like that. Let's see. Kijutsu Rider. Let's take a look. Gameplay trailer. Okay. Good. Already? I can tell. Oh, I'm getting
Killer 7.
I was thinking the other game by the one with oh yeah. This is reminds me of shit, what's the name of that game? Well, it's definitely got some Devil May Cry shit too though. Yeah. But he's like fighting with a motorcycle. Isn't it Dante have that as a weapon in Devil May Cry 5?
I think.
Yeah, he's like a motorcycle split in half. He's like one on each hand. Wild. Not Beautiful Joe, no. It's like on the tip of my tongue, but you had to kill these other assassins. And you had like a lightsaber. You had like a lightsaber.
Killer 7.
Not Killer 7. That was the one where you switch between different personalities and they have different weapons. But this was made by the same guy. I think the first game was on the Wii because it used the Wii controller.
No More Heroes.
No More Heroes. That's the one. Yes, that's what it reminds me of. Bosses or different characters. Okay. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's let this finish. Okay. Another character. Okay. Giant Iron Man. Okay, so Kijutsu Rider looks good too. They all look good. And I like that they're different genres. Okay, so thanks for subscribing, Valkyria Winter. Really appreciate it. Most of the videos will be streams of games. This month is first person shooter February. So I'll be playing Resistance 2 on Tuesday and Doom Eternal on Thursday. But I also do interviews and shows with John here where we talk about the culture. So thank you for joining us.
Valkyria is part of the Goon Squad, as it were. One of Toasty's viewers, amongst other things. I believe also shows up in Will of the Fans from time to time. So I know that. I know this viewer. we should check out Yasuke Simulator really quick. So
Yeah, we're gonna
before we
look
go,
at
'cause-
Yasuke Simulator. I do have one game I want to show off too because
Yeah.
I kind of hinted at it when I talked about like the whole like Corinne Busche thing and
Yep,
D&D.
yep.
So I'm gonna show that off in a second, but let's look at Yasuke Simulator first.
This is
And
the
this
best
is a
thing
short
ever.
clip. Okay, we're gonna see. I am Oda Nobunaga. I am Daimyo. You shall be my samurai. Okay.
Oda Nobunaga. I am Daimyo. You shall be my samurai. Yasuke. You will help me unify
The funk fusion hip hop is the best.
Way up to Takatenjin Castle, controlled by the Takeda clan.
Foreigner!
Yasuke is going to turn Tokyo into Minneapolis. Oh shit, dude. Get to the car.
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, the Takeda clan.
Oh my goodness. Game of the year, guys. This is game of the year. Dude, is this real?
It is.
getting it.
You can wish list it right now.
I'm gonna wish list it. I'm gonna get
Yeah,
it.
and that's the thing. I keep telling everybody about this. We must
Game of the year 2025. I'm calling it.
I want
calling
so
it.
many people. I want this to end up on like DEI detected, or some like giant prominent group of you know,
It's
that's
diverse.
connected to Steve. Right. 'Cause
It's innovative.
Yeah,
You cannot dislike this. You can't.
No, and I think that this is how you actually deal with something like Assassin's Creed. Is you go and like, you know, like make a farce of, like, if they're not going to take his story into account, then completely just, you know, lambaste it.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, this is fucking great. It's so good.
All right. I want to show off a game. So here's the thing, okay? Let me just pitch it real quick. So let's say you want to play a game like Baldur's Gate 3, but you don't like the fact that all of the NPCs are horny all the time and they also have main character syndrome. So you want to try something else that has all those mechanics, costs a lot less, and is just more hardcore, plus has all kinds of custom-made adventures. Well, I will show you this. This game's a little old. It came out in 2021. It's called Solasta, Crown of the Magister, okay? It is essentially Baldur's Gate 3 without any of the, you know, horny NPCs and their main character syndrome of each one being like
years have
super
passed
special.
since the Cataclysm. The Manakalan Empire, all but forgotten. Many seek the lost secrets that lie at the heart of its ruins. Powerful magic, wielded only by the ancient masters of old. Now, evil forces seek to harness this power. Unless brave heroes stand to unite against them.
Let's go kill some monsters.
You must find a way. Ensure that never again Solasta falls into an age of chaos and darkness. Without you, surely all will be lost.
All right, a couple of things about this that I want to point out before I show you more, okay? Here's what makes this great. It has this shit came out in like 2021 and it has more features than Baldur's Gate 3 has right now. That's crazy, right? Now, I'm not attacking Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's a great game, but Solasta, first of all, it's like $30 right now. You can get it for really cheap. Second of all, this is the best thing about it is that, first of all, you make all the characters are custom. You make all the whole party. None of this, like you make one guy and then they throw in all these like characters that are way more colorful and interesting than you are. Like that's what Baldur's Gate 3 did. You get to make your entire party and decide their personalities, and they will talk according to whatever personality you assign them. They will behave that way in the game. The gameplay is very similar to Baldur's Gate 3. But and it's kind of hardcore. Like you have to be like you have to make really smart decisions tactically, which I also appreciate because Baldur's Gate 3, you can kind of like float through it a little bit unless you play on like the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is what's great is the community they have a mode where you can create your own adventures and dungeons like Neverwinter Nights. And so people have made tons of content, thousands of hours of content outside of the main story. I've been playing it for a couple weeks because my friends got me into it, and I have not been able to put it down. Like I'm like really into it, and I haven't even played the main story. I've only played stuff that other people have made, and it's good. And to top it off, they have announced a sequel to Solasta 2, and I want to show that one off too. Nice. There's a demo available for this right now. This
Fancy
one
seeing you here.
is a
Welcome
little bit
to
more, it's
Torwen.
got more involved. This team is pretty small.
Who's
and
this
they
Jabori you're so
kickstarted
worried
the
about?
previous games.
I haven't heard from him for too long. I've got a bad feeling. Everyone look. Swimming under the bridge.
Careful, I heard something.
The demo is like the first chapter of the
Who
story.
feels like a little chat with the critters? Perhaps we can help each other.
Don't bother us. We don't bother you.
Are you Jabori? Can you help me?
Nice.
So, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So that's Solasta 2. Check out the demo; it's free and it's available right now. It came out like yesterday or the day before, so it's very, very, very new. And personally, I like it. I like the ability to make my own custom party because what I usually do is I make characters that I used to run games for in the past, and I just see how they like work out. Right now, I'm playing through Ravenloft. Somebody took Ravenloft, the entire adventure, and put it in Solasta 1. So Solasta 2 is not coming out until I think next year or something like that. We don't know yet. I think it's next year. So, but the demo's out now. You can play the first adventure or the first chapter of the story. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to show off. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, maybe I'll do another Badger's Gate thing, and I'll use Solasta to do it. I don't know. It definitely, the customization of the first game is like the graphics aren't as good, but the customization is better, if that makes sense. Like I don't have to worry about how much Villago I'm going to give somebody because it's just not in there. So, but anyway, yes, I don't know if they dropped the 5e rule set for the demo of the new one, but the old one does have that, which I don't mind. But okay, well, that's it for me. So I guess we're gonna end the show there. John, can say like your final thoughts.
I mean, this definitely looks like something I'm gonna put my eyes on. But other than that, if you have enjoyed my antics here today, I will be on Scooby Pup's podcast this evening at we start at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. I am not the guest this week. I will be next week, but I do the back-end production and engineering for stuff. But 8-Bit Eric will be the guest, and so I will be finishing up here with what we're doing, and I've got like I got to put like the final details on an intro clip that I'm working on that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then that's really all I've got for today, thankfully. And then tomorrow, Will is traveling, so there is no WTF Live, which we are now affectionately calling White Time Friends, because we're all bigots and stuff. So we aren't doing that tomorrow, but we will be I will be on Toasty's channel for her stream tomorrow because Ryan's wanting to move away from doing stuff on Sundays as well, so he can get a little bit more breathing room on just doing some other creative things, which is not a bad thing. Like it's kind of a way like we're all those new bloods that we've kind of cultivated in the last few weeks and months, giving them more footing for themselves to kind of like get room to grow. And so I will be on stream with Toasty tomorrow on Sunday, and then that's all I've really got planned for Sunday officially, but I always end up finishing out the week on Stupinzo's channel. I'm not sure what times Toasty's running tomorrow, but just keep an eye on her X account, or join the FFS Discord, which I'll drop a link to here in the chat in just a second. And I always try to keep that up to date for streams that I'll be on. And then Monday, I'm not really have anything planned, so I actually have some time the next couple days to do some stuff. It's going to be really cool. And then I'm just doing my general, Tuesday, Thursday on Will of the Fans, and then Wednesday and Friday next week will be on Reality Based. And then we'll be back here again for next week's Week in Culture. So with that said, I will just finish as I always do, saying safe travels ahead. Have a wonderful weekend going forward. Be awesome as always.
All right. Thanks, John. And I just wishlisted Yaska Simulator. And then I went to look up Lost Records Bloom and Rage. It's fucking $35.99 for the first chapter, the first tape. So I don't know, man. That's a lot of money for some bullshit. But we'll see. If somebody wants to gift me the game, I can include my Steam details. I'll definitely stream it if I can get it. I just don't think I have $35.99
to put towards that. Yeah, like
put towards this. Yeah, this gay race communist
there's
shit.
There's so many better things that you could use that money for, like groceries. But but if somebody wants to be entertained by it and people want to like actually like make an opportunity.
If I thought I was gonna get like a real audience to like watch me play it, I might pick it up.
Oh yeah,
I might get a return on my investment.
Right.
Well, anyway, just let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna end the show there. Thank you so much for coming on. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on today's video, and please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you all so much for coming on today's episode of Week in Culture, and we will talk to you guys in the next video. Long live Vivian.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.